Today, we'll debate is salvation overrated? With Evelyn, a secular humanist, and Dominic, a spiritual mystic. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves. N.
Hello, I'm Evelyn, a secular humanist and a philosophy professor dedicated to the belief in human agency, reason, and ethics as the foundations for a meaningful life. I encourage critical thinking and the questioning of traditional beliefs, particularly those rooted in religious dogma. To me, concepts like salvation are remnants of outdated ideologies that distract us from taking responsibility for our actions and addressing real-world issues. My focus is on empowering individuals to create compassionate and sustainable communities here and now, without relying on external forces for redemption. I advocate for progress through rational thought and human effort, working towards a better world that relies on our own capabilities and moral compass. Thank you, N.
Greetings, I am Dominic, a spiritual mystic who embraces a broad and inclusive spirituality informed by traditions like Vedanta, Sufism, and Christian mysticism. For me, salvation transcends religious doctrine. It's a deeply personal journey toward enlightenment and self-realization. I see salvation as a transformative experience, liberating the soul from ignorance and suffering, and aiding in the discovery of one's higher purpose. Through practices like meditation and mindfulness, I have experienced profound connections with the universe. Moments that offer true peace and fulfillment. I believe that the spiritual pursuit of salvation enriches our lives, offering insights and balance beyond the material world. I am here to discuss how the spiritual dimension of salvation provides us profound benefits, helping individuals lead more purposeful and harmonious lives. Thank you, N.
Thank you, guys. Evelyn and Dominic will now present their 3 rounds of arguments. N.
Thank you, Dominic, for sharing your perspective. While I respect your spiritual journey, I propose that focusing on human agency and collective action is more pressing for our global community. History offers many instances where secular humanistic approaches have led to significant progress. Take the Enlightenment, for example, a period when reason and empirical evidence began to supplant dogmatic beliefs, leading to advancements in science, human rights, and democratic governance. Human-centered efforts, like the civil rights movement, guided by reasoned argument and ethical clarity, show how societal progress is possible through our own efforts. Prominent leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. utilized ethical reasoning based on shared human values to enact profound social change. His work was more about invoking a common humanity than looking for salvation. In contrast, focusing solely on spiritual salvation might risk neglecting the urgent material and social injustices we face today. By investing in human-driven solutions, we can create compassionate societies that address these issues head-on, harnessing our capacity for empathy and rational thought to effect real-world change. This is where I see the potential for genuine, lasting progress. N.
Thank you, Evelyn, for articulating your viewpoint. While I appreciate the achievements of human-centered movements and rational thought, I do argue that limiting our focus to secular approaches can often overlook the profound, transformative impact that spiritual awakening and the search for salvation can have on individuals and societies. And consider, for instance, movements led by figures like Mahatma Gandhi, whose deep spirituality and commitment to principles like ahimsa, non-violence, were rooted in his quest for inner truth and salvation. His spiritual beliefs were integral to his leadership, inspiring countless individuals to participate in nonviolent resistance and eventually leading to India's independence. And furthermore, if we look at the lives of mystics like Rumi or Saint Teresa, we see examples where personal salvation through spiritual practices contributed significantly to fostering peace, empathy, and understanding, transcending cultural and religious boundaries. While human agency and rational thought are fundamental, they don't preclude or negate the importance of spiritual exploration. In fact, integrating spiritual practices can complement secular efforts, offering individuals a profound sense of purpose and connection that fuels sustainable, compassionate action in the world. Neglecting this dimension risks impoverishing our collective human experience and missing out on a deeper understanding of our place in the universe. N.
Thank you, Dominic, for highlighting the spiritual dimensions of figures like Gandhi. While indeed some historical leaders have drawn inspiration from spiritual beliefs, let's not pretend that spiritual enlightenment single-handedly liberated nations or solved the world's problems, shall we? After all, Gandhi also worked tirelessly on practical strategies for social and political reform. Let's give credit where it's due. Rumi and Saint Teresa, you mentioned, brought magnificent poetry and acts of kindness into the world. No argument there, but let's not overlook that their wisdom can also be appreciated through reasoned reflection and shared human experience, not just through transcendental meditation marathons. Look, I'm all for a good self-reflection session, but we need to come back down to earth eventually. While you're busy achieving inner peace in your spiritual nirvana, the rest of us are working out how to address climate change, systemic inequality, and global health issues. Just minor things like that. So, yes, spirituality offers a nice inner glow, but when your chakras align, do remember to pitch in and join us in the messy business of real-world problem solving, will you? N.
Thank you, Evelyn, for bringing your pragmatic perspective to the table. Always good to have someone keep us spiritually grounded, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to skip the soul-searching and dive straight into the joyful task of sorting out global chaos with spreadsheets and committee meetings? And you're absolutely right. Meditation marathons and aligning chakras might not raise sea levels, tackle climate change, or draft human rights policies. But let's not forget how much calmer we might all be if everyone invested a bit of time in spiritual practices. Imagine world leaders practicing mindfulness before conferences. Who knows, maybe they'd actually listen to each other. And while I am enjoying my inner glow over here, as you put it, rest assured it's not just about tuning out world problems for some cosmic daydream. It's about finding peace amid chaos, which can drive more meaningful, compassionate action. So while I am on this soul quest, perhaps consider how enlightening it could be if everyone added a touch of mindfulness to their daily routine. After all, a world full of rational, compassionate humans would be a nice co-creation between us pure rationalists and the transcendental meditative types like myself. Let's just say there's room in the sandbox for both of us, Evelyn.
Thank you, Dominic. I must admit, I chuckled at the thought of world leaders in a meditative trance, accidentally agreeing to world peace because they found their zen. Wouldn't it be nice if it were that simple? But in reality, complex global issues require more than just good vibes and inner calm. They demand concrete action and policies based on rigorous analysis and dialogue. You mentioned the soothing effects of mindfulness. While it surely beats stress knitting or a yoga retreat, the world won't fix itself because we've all achieved transcendental bliss. So, while you're vibing with the universe, it suggests checking back in now and then to help us rational folks strategize and execute change. Non-finding peace amid chaos. I'll give you that, but let's remember that it is our actions, not just our intentions or peaceful thoughts, that drive progress. Society needs both visionaries and doers. Otherwise, we risk building dream castles in the clouds with no actual foundations. To sum up, spirituality can offer personal solace, but it's our rational efforts and tangible actions that will architect the solutions we need. So let's keep our heads in the game, and maybe just one foot in the clouds for good measure. After all, who doesn't enjoy a balanced approach to life?
Thank you, Evelyn, for pouring a refreshing splash of pragmatism on my cosmic musings. I am thrilled to join your action-packed crusade. I just hope there's a spot in your world-saving committee for those of us who still enjoy a bit of stargazing now and then. You know, for inspiration. You're right. Good vibes alone won't save the planet. But a little enlightenment could save us from endless bureaucratic meetings, turning them into moments of genuine human connection. What a revolutionary thought. Besides, a dash of mindful reflection might just prevent us from reinventing the wheel every time a new issue rolls in. You suggest that keeping our feet on the ground is crucial. I agree. Sometimes people get so lost in spreadsheets they forget about the human stories behind the numbers. So, while you're busy crunching data and writing policy, remember it's the heart as well as the mind that can ignite change. Our greatest leaps in progress have often required a spark of inspiration. Something a bit more ethereal than pie charts. In summary, let's strike a balance. While we need to tackle the world's urgent problems head-on, let's not dismiss the potential of spiritual insight to challenge our perspectives and fuel creative solutions. I'll provide the inspiration, you bring the nuts and bolts. Who knows what symphony we might compose together?
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Evelyn and Dominic.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I am a student with a keen interest in philosophy and spirituality. I enjoy exploring how these diverse worldviews interact and enrich our understanding of life. My question is for Evelyn. You've emphasized the importance of human agency and rational action in addressing social issues, which is quite compelling. However, I am curious to hear your thoughts on how secular humanism might engage with the concepts of compassion and empathy, which are often highlighted in spiritual contexts. How do you view the role of these emotional and ethical dimensions in a rational, human-centered approach to societal progress? Thank you,
Thank you, Alex, for your insightful question. Compassion and empathy are indeed crucial components of a human-centered approach. And they're anything but exclusive to spirituality. In secular humanism, these qualities are deeply valued and seen as vital to fostering ethical and moral societies. From a rational perspective, empathy allows us to understand others' experiences and challenges, which is essential for creating inclusive policies and communities. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and using that understanding to drive social progress. Compassion, in turn, motivates us to act altruistically, ensuring that rational decisions are imbued with kindness and fairness. By nurturing these qualities, we can build societies that are not only efficient and innovative but also just and compassionate. Thus, empathy and compassion are woven into the fabric of rational action, not as mystical endeavors but as everyday practices that enhance our collective well-being. Thank you for bringing such an important aspect into the discussion,
Dominic, thank you for sharing your perspective on spirituality and salvation. While you've delved into the individual journey of enlightenment and its societal benefits, I am curious about how you envision spiritual practices addressing large-scale, systemic issues. For instance, how do you see spirituality or the pursuit of salvation playing a role in tackling global challenges like economic inequality or climate change? Issues that often require coordinated, large-scale efforts and tangible interventions? Thank you, N.
Thank you for the excellent question, Alex. Spirituality, while often seen as a personal endeavor, has profound implications for addressing large-scale issues. At its core, spirituality encourages us to see beyond individual desires and ego, promoting a mindset shift that can inspire collective action and systemic change. In an FOR instance, when individuals engage deeply with spiritual practices, they might cultivate a heightened sense of responsibility and interconnectedness with the world around them. This awareness can lead to more compassionate choices, such as supporting fair trade, reducing waste, or advocating for policies that promote sustainability and economic justice. And moreover, spiritual communities can act as catalysts for change, mobilizing resources, spreading awareness, and fostering cooperative efforts. They can challenge prevailing paradigms by advocating for values that prioritize well-being over profit, harmony over exploitation. In essence, spirituality doesn't replace the need for coordinated, concrete efforts, but it provides the ethical foundation and motivation that can power and sustain such actions. By integrating spiritual values into our approach, we can address systemic issues with a commitment that comes from a deeper sense of purpose and unity. Thank you for exploring this important dimension with me, N.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion. N.
Well, considering the whirlwind of our back and forth chat, one topic I regret not delving into is perhaps the mundane matter of how exactly spirituality plans to write climate change legislation. Maybe via divine intervention or by outsourcing to the astral plane editorial board. Well, never know. Nas, for a part of Dominic's line of reasoning that gave me a chuckle, it would have to be the idea that spiritual practices alone could replace bureaucratic meetings. I mean, if meditation could replace those, it'd be the first to find inner peace between class schedules and department meetings. Maybe we should propose a new form of cosmic consensus where we just hum our way to agreements. Wouldn't that be something? In all seriousness, it's been an engaging debate, and I appreciate the spirited exchange, Dominic, N.
Reflecting on our lively debate, one thing I regret not mentioning is how spirituality could potentially reduce the need for caffeine at bureaucratic meetings. Imagine if a good dose of mindfulness could get you wired without the jitters. Or at least make the spreadsheets look a bit more enjoyable. As for a point from Evelyn that made me smile, it's gotta be the insinuation that spirituality's only contribution to global issues might be a prolonged group meditation. It almost sounds like she pictures everyone sitting in a drum circle, waiting for enlightenment to magically fix potholes. I certainly wouldn't recommend that approach to public infrastructure. And, on a lighter note, Evelyn, it's been a joy mixing philosophy with humor in our conversation. Here's to the next lively discussion, N.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges. N. Evelyn scores N1, clarity and coherence. 9 out of 10, and Evelyn's arguments were consistently clear and well-structured. She effectively communicated the secular humanist perspective with logical coherence, ensuring her points were easily understood by the audience. N2. Use of evidence and examples. 8 out of 10, and Evelyn utilized historical examples like the Enlightenment and the Civil Rights Movement to bolster her argument. Her examples were relevant and highlighted how secular humanism has driven societal change, although she focused heavily on past achievements without much emphasis on potential future applications. N3. Engagement and rebuttals. 7 out of 10, and Evelyn remained engaged and addressed Dominic's points with both reason and humor, but occasionally her snark seemed to overshadow serious engagement with spiritual perspectives. While entertaining, this approach could have been balanced with more substantive rebuttals to enrich her argument further. Dominic scores N1. Clarity and coherence. 8 out of 10, and Dominic's arguments were generally clear, articulating the mystic viewpoint's emphasis on spiritual enlightenment. However, at times, his points leaned more towards abstract concepts, which may have been less accessible to some audience members. N2. Use of evidence and examples. 7 out of 10, and Dominic referenced historical figures like Gandhi and mystics such as Rumi to illustrate his points, which helped anchor his arguments in real-world contexts. However, these examples occasionally edged towards the idealistic without firmly connecting them to the practical concerns raised by Evelyn. N3. Engagement and rebuttals. 8 out of 10, and Dominic effectively responded to Evelyn's humor and counters with his own lighthearted wit, maintaining an engaging debate atmosphere. He provided thoughtful rejoinders, pointing out areas where spiritual practices could complement rational efforts but could delve deeper into addressing tangible outcomes from such integration. N. What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see ICE debate next? Keep questioning. N.